Okay, so I guess we can open up this regular meeting of MSRAC a few minutes late, I guess 9:05. We'll call this meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the October 13th, 2023 regular meeting.
So moved.
Can I make just one correction, please?
Sure.
Oh, okay. Under C, 630 Riverside Drive, I'm just thought maybe we could change the word stairwell to tower, because that's what the whole town has called it all these years. In case somebody wants to look up these minutes, the collapse of the tower.
I don't have any problem with that. Doesn't
Nope.
anybody else?
Good for me.
Okay, that's all I got.
Okay, so does it, let's vote to approve the minutes with that correction.
Did someone second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Bernie, I think you're right. There was no second. Would you like to be on record as the second?
Well, I was the first, I thought.
Made the motion.
Oh, you made the motion.
Think you'll need
Right,
it.
right. Joanne, you want to second it?
Yes, yes. I was just going to say I'll second it then.
I got it.
Okay, then moving on. Is there any correspondence?
There is no MSRAC correspondence.
Okay, then we'll go to item 4, citizens' comments. Are there any citizens in the Zoom room or in person?
No, ma'am.
Well, then we're up to number 5, committee business. The first item is for you to give us an update on the community investment fund grant application.
So as I think everybody here knows, my round 3 application was not successful, but we did get an executive summary from DECD for a round 4 updated application. Those are due 1 week from today. I have revamped my draft, responding to DECD's concerns with a little help from John Guskowski. And I'm actually at this point pretty much ready to submit. The only thing I'm waiting for is 2 or 3 updated letters of support. The most important one being from May Flexer, because the program requires substantial support from your state legislators. I actually have one from Senator Gordon in hand, and May's assistant should get that to me any day now. And then I'm waiting for a couple other updated ones just to attach to the package, but I'm otherwise ready to go. It's substantially the same application for the same amount of money. There were just a couple of responses in the original application that they identified as not being as strong as they could have been. So we rejiggered them, and also showed the update on, notably, the 65 Main project, because that renovation is underway and we're trying to close that funding gap. And I threw in some pictures of the Superior Bakery updated renovation, because one of the cases that we're making for the reconstruction of Main Street and the sidewalk is that is supportive of development that's already happening. So we'll see. There's going to be a total of 8 rounds on this grant program before it goes away forever. I will keep submitting until we get the money. But this one's stronger than last one, so we'll see.
Great.
They'll announce in March, late March.
Well, that was a good idea to bring in John Guskowski just for another fresh set of eyes, because otherwise, we all keep just writing the same things, using the same verbiage all over again. So
Yeah, there was one question in particular, that using an acronym of, SMART guidelines, specific, measurable, blah, blah, blah. And I waffled a little bit on my original answer, because all of the things in there are things that you address throughout the application. And John just said, just go in and do it. S is for specific. So that's essentially what we did. but it's fine. I mean, I think it does sort of hit the marks they want, but we'll see. We'll see.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Anybody else have anything else on this agenda item? Hearing none, then I guess we'll go on to the Blaine Road intersection. This could be the last time this item's on our agenda.
Well, it should be because it's done from our perspective. ECCD does still have to do the plantings, but that's their own project under their own grant. And it's fantastic.
Well, the only thing left to do is the road striping, which Amy said wasn't gonna happen until the spring because they need to, the town apparently doesn't do its own road striping. And it costs like $1,400-1,500 minimum to bring a company in, so they'll wait till spring when they have other projects. But you still get some people heading out of Lane Road to turn left on 12, drifting to the left like they used to. And the center line, the lane divider there is up by the stop sign is going to be important to get in.
I would make the argument that anybody doing that probably shouldn't have a license to drive because
Oh,
you
of
are
course not,
supposed to
but-
keep right.
Yeah,
You don't have any argument from me.
very true. Yeah, I'm very pleased with how it turned out. So Noons is done then. So ECCD purchases the plants and plants them.
Yep. And they're only planting the north shoulder. The south shoulder will ultimately be our responsibility. But I'm not really concerned about that because 630 is still what it is. So, you know, until there's some work there, any plantings we do could get interrupted by that. So
Right.
it's just as well to leave it as it is.
Right. So around the edges from the bioretention area, do they have to come back and like loam and seed them in the spring? I mean, right now it is kind of.
NC is done. So anything that's being done now is all ECCD under their LID grant, which also covers the pavers at the library, of course. But
Okay.
they'll get done with Blaine before they get the library done. That's a
Okay.
fact.
I
Well,
will mention something else I noticed on that new intersection. If you're coming down the hill towards Route 12 at night, as you approach the left-hand curve where you cross the railroad tracks and it curves left, it's not as visible as you would think. And I think sooner or later, someone's going to drive straight ahead over the curve. You know, a left arrow sign came to mind, but it could be overkill. I don't know. It's just something to be aware of at this point.
Yeah.
You think
I'm
it's
actually
not? You think it's not visible, Bernie, even with the reflectors that are up now?
Yeah, the reflectors kind of all blend into the background.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, I could be wrong, you know, time will tell, and you know, when you go that way at night, see what you think, and you know, just kind of play the whole thing by ear, but just be aware that that's how it struck me.
Right. And I also think just not having any plantings or like green area, like that brown dirt just is the same color as pavement right now.
Right, yes,
That's
yes.
true.
So I think that if ECCD just plants the bioretention area, then around it there is topsoil. So before that turns into a weed jungle, if Noons is 100% done, then maybe we might have to have a little conversation with Public Works to just do some seeding. I mean, it's all topsoil to maybe seed it and put some hay mulch or something to get vegetation on it. And especially if the south one's not going to be done, there has to be vegetation, you know, some turf establishment or something done there.
Yep, that's an excellent point.
So
Crossing the crosswalk going from Blaine to the north side of Route 12 is wonderful. Coming back isn't as good. You kind of have to step out in the road a little bit to see around the curve to the right and around the curve to the left, but there's no way around it. I mean, you know, nothing's going to be perfect.
Yeah, that, as you know, I walk that all the time. The sight
Exactly.
lines from the east side of the road coming over have always been bad. And I actually observed early on that they placed the crosswalk slightly wrong.
Oh,
there was before they redid it, there was literally a crack in the sidewalk that I could align to.
Oh,
It was the perfect sight line. And the crosswalk that was installed is not exactly where that was. And it does make a slight difference, but it's still so much better.
right.
Really, the part that's so much better is where the shoulder is now. That used to be like the scariest part of my pedestrian commute, because that's exactly where some knucklehead texting and driving could just drift through and hit somebody.
That's good.
And now that's not an option anymore. So that's, it's so much better.
Yeah, I think it looks great. Anybody else have any other comments or suggestions regarding the Blaine Road intersection? Okay, then we'll move on to item C, 65 Main Street workshops.
Next one is coming up on the 20th. I hope you can all make it. RSVP not required, but would be helpful because I'll be ordering pizza and getting snacks and stuff. And this one is Wayne Wiseman is coming out again from Illinois. He's going to do a 2-hour meeting just talking about the permaculture aspect of the design. He was super engaged, came out for the first one. I think everybody who was there all of a sudden became interested in permaculture, which is great. It's sort of the smallest part of the project, but as I keep saying, it's like the shiny new object that's getting people interested and hooking people in. So I'm really pleased to have him back in. I would say that the first 2 workshops went really, really well, both the overview and the card game. I think almost everybody on here, well, maybe just 2 of you, maybe just Joanne and Janet. So I'm interested in your feedback on the game session.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought the makeup of the tables was good. It is interesting, like you said, how everybody makes up their own instructions
Which is
on how
fine.
how to sort things. So as long as you can make sense of it at the end.
And I like the way you mix up people, Tara. You do a great job of doing that.
Yeah.
Moving
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, and the information that comes out of it is useful to me. It does help me narrow the focus of the rest of the workshops, because we've said all along it's going to be tailored to the interest of the actual community who are going to be the users. There was nothing like revolutionary, shockingly surprising that came out of it, but the specific priorities that caught people's attention, those things matter. I did a smaller one a week later up at the school. They actually followed the instructions pretty much exactly, which was amusing to me.
How'd that work out?
So I wasn't sure if I could do it in an hour with a group of students who'd never seen the project before, but it was also very interesting. Some of the same priorities, some very different priorities, obviously because of their different perspective, being active students. Both of those sets of results actually are included as a supplement to my CIF application to show the progress and how it is community supported. So all of these things do end up being useful in different kinds of ways. And based on the results of both, I did narrow down the workshop topics for months 4 through 12, the last 9 months on the planning grant project. So yay.
Yay.
Good job.
Anybody have any questions for Tara on that or comments? Okay, then I guess we'll get some information on our ongoing committee business. Just if there's anything new, I don't think we necessarily need to just update us. If you know of anything that's happening with the River Mill, 630 Riverside Drive. I think we've already talked about the Main Street reconstruction.
Yeah, well, there's at least minor updates for the mill properties.
Excellent.
So this past Tuesday, the Board of Selectmen did move the assignment of the tax lien for 929 and 915 to town meeting. That is required for town meeting. That town meeting is set for Monday, the 18th at 7 at the library. I would certainly encourage everybody here to go. I would say, even though we had some good results coming out of the election, that we still can't sleep on the idea that people won't come out to stand in the way of things, either because they don't understand them or because they're a part of that disruptive agenda. We still have not signed the freaking grant contract, mostly because we're having some trouble getting signatures from Andy Scott. But Pam Elkow and I talked to DECD's lawyer. We're essentially going to give it about 3 weeks for him to comply, since he said he would sign everything. And if he doesn't, we'll go back to DECD and say, seriously, how can we bypass this? I can't remember if it was before or after the MSRAC meeting last month. Clearly, the owner received the letter from the building office that he has to take down the smokestack. Practically the next day, I got a call from a lawyer out in Western Connecticut saying that he was interested in donating all of his properties to the town.
Oh, that's
Right,
weird.
which would shift the liability, and yet we're still having trouble getting him signing off on the stuff that would get the ownership away. I mean, it's like, it's cockamamie. So, I've communicated all of this to DECD as well. So they know that it's just weird. He wants to get rid of the properties. We want him to get rid of the properties. We have ways for him to get rid of the properties, but those are the things he's not doing. I mean, it's like, it's kooky. But anyway, so
Do we
Monday,
follow up on this offer to donate either to us or maybe the land bank?
I talked about it with the land bank. He's just trying to do it to shift his liability away, right?
Yeah, who cares
So that-
why? If he's gonna get, maybe
Right.
that would start some action.
So what he's trying to do is not take down the smokestack on his own dime. The
Mhm.
town's not going to do that, and the land bank's not going to do that either.
Okay,
So this would not be a situation in which we'd be super interested
okay.
in shifting that ownership in that way. However, before I move on to that, so the other piece on the 929 is the actual tax abatement agreement that's tied to the VAD. That was also on the agenda this past Tuesday. One of the selectmen decided that selectman needed 2 more weeks to digest the information. So it should be on the agenda for Tuesday the 19th, the day after the town meeting, for the selectmen to vote to authorize Amy to sign the abatement agreement. But
Okay.
I'm confident that both of those things will be wrapped up by the end of it.
Is this Kara, is this the first time that the owner of the property on Riverside has offered to donate his property to our town?
As far as I'm aware, yes.
He would have done this years ago, but.
Well,
What cost to take the smokestack down? 50 grand?
I have no idea, but I can tell you that it's his responsibility.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, it was a very amusing conversation with that lawyer, who was actually a pretty decent guy, and I sort of filled him in on the conditions on the ground here too. And yeah, it's not going to fly. What he wants to do is not going to be allowed. He's going to have that liability regardless. So, but getting to 630 and the land bank, Wayne contacted me and Amy about a developer. The guy is a solar developer. He might be interested in 630 for a part of the non-developable portion of the property. Now, when Wayne came to me, I said, look, the the appetite for solar on its own is not high, and in that neighborhood would not be fantastic. But if it came in as a part of an overall redevelopment plan, we might have something to talk about. So just this morning, there was a thread between me and Wayne and Amy to try to meet with the guy Thursday, the 21st in the afternoon, just to see what the guy's about, really feel him out. I had a call a couple of weeks ago from someone in Putnam who also has a developer acquaintance who might be interested, but I haven't heard back from that person since. There's always interest swirling around that property. It's
Until they
just a
found
matter
out
of-
about cleanup costs.
Yeah, all that stuff. I mean, we always say, and it's true, that as brownfield cleanup goes, it's pretty manageable. But pretty manageable doesn't mean that it doesn't have costs and complications. So, and the asset is gone, right? The building was the asset, and that's gone. So it always sort of gums everything up.
Yep,
I remain optimistic.
at least the intersections.
Right, right.
Every piece of progress counts.
That's right.
That's right. That's right. Just keep building and, we just need to get a remediation grant somehow, whether it's through the land bank or some developer or something, and then that'll get 630 going. So the remaining items, Main Street reconstruction and Swanson Park, I know that they're kind of wrapped up in our community investment grant. Is there any other updates on those?
No, because I don't have another grant I'm particularly, the lot SIP was submitted to NECOG ages ago when Yu Yang completed the plans, but we already know that that's a 4 to 6 year time frame at best. I mean, maybe a little better than that, but probably not much. The one thing I was going to say about Blaine Road, which didn't occur to me, is at some point assuming that we get the CIF grant to do this round of projects, because there's 8 rounds and you can submit multiple applications or subsequent ones, the permaculture park at 65 is something I was planning on going out for a subsequent round. And it was already in the back of my head to make that a district-wide green space application. So I could theoretically, if we haven't come up with a better solution, include the southern shoulder of the Blaine Road intersection in a future round. But, we're looking a year or 2 out on that.
All right. Item E, is there any other or new committee business that anybody thought of? I forgot to put on the agenda or otherwise. It's hard to say since I can't see your eyes. I can't tell what you're thinking.
Neither
So,
can any of us.
so speak now or forever hold your peace. Well, actually, you still have another chance because we can move on to item 6, member comments. Does anybody have any comments? Well, then,
Meeting ever.
yes, well, this is a little bit of a slow time for us, but hopefully we'll get these other grants going or think of new ones and get busier again.
And I hope to see you all on the 20th.
Okay.
The 18th first.
Or the 18th first, yes.
All right. Well, we'll see everybody. If we don't see you on the 18th or the 20th, hopefully we will, then we'll see you in 2024.
Oh, are you sending out a new calendar? There was none attached.
We did approve one, I believe. Is that part of the agenda from
October, I think we approved it. I had it in my calendar for quite a while.
Yeah, me too. If you need a copy, Joanne, I can look on my server when I get back in Connecticut and forward you one.
Yeah, that's great because I didn't see an actual calendar with the dates on it. Okay, maybe I overlooked it. Thank you.
All right.
Hey, guys, have a good
All
weekend.
right. Morning, you too. Thanks for
care.
coming, everyone.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.